Hello. Today I'll be doing a guided meditation. This is just for complete beginners. If you've never meditated before, but maybe you're curious, you wanted to try it, this is for you. It'll show you what the benefits are of meditating and how to do your first meditation. The first thing to consider when you're meditating is going to be your position, how you're going to sit. So I'm going to be sitting on the floor. If that's not accessible to you yet, that's totally okay. Feel free to get a chair or to stand up. Whatever is comfortable for you is perfectly fine, as long as you're in a stable position. If you are going to sit on the floor, I recommend using a cushion. If you don't have anything else, a rolled up towel works really well. So come to your stable position, whatever that looks like for you, and try to relax into it as we begin the practice. So my meditation practice is a breath-based mindfulness practice. What that means is instead of repeating a mantra or focusing on some mental object, we're just going to be focusing on the sensations of the breath, specifically at the nose. Before we get into the meditation in earnest, there's a few things that we're going to think about to get into the right mindset. The first thing is going to be your motivation. If this is your first sit, maybe you're just meditating because you're curious, you want to try it out, or maybe you've heard that there are some benefits and you wanted to see if you could try to find out what they are, or maybe experience them yourself. If you have no idea what your motivation is, there are a few key benefits to meditating that are pretty common. The first that comes to mind is that meditation can bring a lot of peace and a lot of joy. Obviously, in daily life, there's a million different things that can distract us and take us away from any sense of peace. But when you meditate, it's the time to just let everything else go and just find your inner balance. The second thing that comes to mind is meditation can help you process a lot of the unconscious beliefs and drives that you have that might be contributing to suffering in your daily life. As we go through life, we acquire various beliefs that we're not aware of, and we're not aware of how they impact us. And by meditating, when you get into a place of stillness, those beliefs can arise and you can begin to become aware of them and begin to process them. And finally, mindfulness is one of the other benefits to meditating. So when you meditate, the main goal is to improve your skill of mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically the balance between attention and awareness in your mind. So attention is what you're focusing on. It's detailed. It's just like the main object of your attention, of course. And awareness is everything that's around that. So everything in the background. Right now, you might be focusing on this video. And so that's what's in your attention. And then all the sounds around you, what you can see outside of the video, maybe the thoughts going on in your head, the sensations in your body, those could all be part of awareness. So the reason we train mindfulness is because when you're going throughout your day, if you have no consideration for mindfulness, then anything can capture your attention. When something captures your attention unwillingly, often your awareness collapses. And when you lose awareness of the whole picture, it can cause you to act in ways that promote unnecessary suffering. So the meditation practice's main goal is to reduce unnecessary suffering by allowing you to become skilled enough to have mindfulness that never collapses. Obviously, that's very difficult, and that comes with years of practice. If that sounds totally out of reach to you, no worries. Today's just your first practice to see what it's all about. So whatever speaks to you, maybe you have another reason for meditating, whatever it is, just hold that in your mind and resolve to honor that motivation throughout this meditation by practicing diligently. Spend the meditation actually trying to focus as best as you can instead of letting your mind wander. The second thing to think about is your goal. So during each meditation, you want to pick something to work on specifically. For all of the beginners watching today, I recommend that you choose following the breath as your goal. Following the breath is basically a mental activity that you can do to help your attention stay fixed on the breath. If you've never meditated before, you might not be aware of it, but it's actually very difficult to calm the mind down and have it stay on just one object of attention for an extended period of time. So at the beginning of your practice, it's important to use cues like following the breath to help the mind become still. Following the breath is essentially just noticing the exact moments when your inhale begins and ends, and when your exhale begins and ends. So right now, let's all just take a moment to try to observe this if you've never done it before. So take a deep breath in and just try to notice the exact moment that your inhale begins. Now, try to take another deep breath in and notice the exact moment when your inhale ends. Now do the same with your exhale. Try to notice where it begins and ends. So hopefully you are picking up on what following the breath means here. You're really just noticing when are you breathing in and when are you breathing out, and there's also a pause in between those two. So noticing when are you just holding your breath, either holding it in or holding it out. So throughout your meditation today, just try to focus on following the breath and working with that and trying to hold your attention just on the breath. The next thing to think about is your expectations. So expectations can make it pretty difficult to meditate depending on the expectations that you hold. One of the key things that you'll realize about the mind as you begin your practice is that a happy and joyful mind is a lot more focused than an agitated, frustrated mind. So by holding expectations, you kind of create this danger that you're gonna frustrate yourself. For example, if you hold an expectation that you're going to stay focused on the breath for the entire sit, once you lose attention on the breath, that expectation has been disappointed and you'll become frustrated. And then often you'll try to force attention back to the breath by using willpower, but unfortunately that's just going to frustrate you more, and then you're going to fail again and then become more disappointed, and it just creates a whole mess. The solution to this is letting go of your expectations and accepting when distraction occurs. So in order to not get in that trap of getting frustrated whenever your mind wanders, whenever you realize that you've forgotten the breath, just be glad that you've done so and appreciate the chance to just return to the breath and find that place of stillness once again. So the next thing you're going to think about before your sit is diligence. There are likely going to be times during the sit when you just think, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish I could just stop and get up and do something else. I wish I could just go down some train of thought. Or maybe I'm tired. I wish I could just go to sleep. And those are moments when self and clinging to self and ego are most present in the mind. And those are the biggest contributors to unnecessary suffering. So the most progress in your practice is going to be made in those moments by simply invoking diligence and saying, no, I'm just going to come back to the breath and try to relax. The last thing to think about before you begin your sit in earnest is distraction. So what are the things that are most likely to distract you during the sit? Maybe it's your work, maybe school, maybe your family, maybe something has happened recently that you've been thinking about a lot. Whatever it is, try to identify it and set the intention now to just set that aside for the remainder of the sit. You might not be completely successful in letting go of that distraction, but by setting the intention to put it away now, you'll have an easier time letting it go. All right, so now that you've gotten into a good mindset for the meditation, we're gonna begin in earnest. So if you haven't already, just close your eyes. If it's easier, you can leave your eyes open and just sort of let them fall to the ground. You're going to start by directing your attention to the present moment. That means anything in your sensory experience, anything you can feel, see, smell, or taste, or hear is totally fine. Just let your mind wander to the present moment. If you notice that there's anything going on that's mental, any thoughts, just try to set those aside. All right, so once your attention has shifted to the present moment, now you're going to want to restrict your attention to just the sensations in your body. So anything you can feel. Let everything else just sit in awareness. So don't try to shut things you can see or things you can hear. Don't try to shut them out of awareness. Let them just be, but restrict your attention, what you're focusing on, to just be in your body. All right. So your attention should be fixed on the body now. If it's not, that's also totally okay. But try to keep following along with the video. Now we're going to shift your attention just to focus on sensations about the breath. So that can be anywhere in your body that you notice sensations that are following the breath. So maybe it's in your abdomen, maybe it's in your nose, wherever your attention is wandering to, that's fine, as long as it's related to the breath. And again, let all the other sensations just be in awareness. All right, so now you're going to shift your attention to just the breath at the nose. So any sensations that you can feel with breathing just in your nose. Maybe you feel that there's a warmer sensation when you're breathing out. There's a colder sensation when you're breathing in. Maybe you feel the contraction or expanding of the nostrils. Whatever it is, that's totally okay. Just focus your attention on the breath at the nose and let everything else just remain in awareness. You're going to start following the breath here. We're going to try to count breaths. Try to count up to 10. If you lose track of how many, just restart your count. And you can restart it as many times as you need to try to get to 10. This is just to help stabilize your attention on the breath. And we're going to stay here for about 10 more minutes. If that seems long to you, just try to relax. It's your first sit. As you practice more, it'll get easier. If you found a sense of peace, a sense of calm or joy, anything that feels good, take a moment to appreciate that. If you find that the mind has wandered, take a moment to appreciate that you realize that, and just relax and return to the breath. All right. If you'd like to continue the sit, feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you're going to end it here, just take a moment to set an intention to carry whatever you got out of this sit with you throughout the rest of the day. If you found some peace, some calm, set the intention to carry that with you, or if something came up during the sit that you feel like you need to address, to set the intention to do so. And I hope you have a great day.